The first unit, reading A, attitude is altitude. Imagine having no arms to stretch in the morning to help you scratch that itch, to allow you to wrap your arms around your loved ones. Imagine having no legs to kick pebbles down the street, to walk or run, to bicycle or skateboard, or get you from point A to point B. Then imagine both at once, which is what Nick Vujicic has faced his whole life. Have you heard something like this before? My dear children, in this para, the narrator is explaining about the importance of the limbs, that means legs and arms. In this lesson, Nick Vujicic has no arms and legs. So that's why he is saying, without these limbs, how can we live? But Nick Vujicic has faced the whole life and he succeeded in his life. And the next lines, his Nick Vujicic was born with no arms and legs. So that is the important here. Nick. So who is the Nick here? So he was born with no arms and legs. But he does not let the details stop him. So having no arms and legs, the details means his daily routine work. It does not stop. The brave 26 years old, who is mainly a torso. Torso means here having no limbs. It means legs and arms is called torso. Who is mainly a torso. So what can he do? He plays football and golf and swims and surfs despite having no limbs. So he has no limbs, but he can play football, golf, swims and surfs, and he can do so many things. So this is the expression of these two paras. Nick has a small foot on his left hip, which helps him balance and enables him to kick. He uses his one foot to type, write with a pen, and pick things up between his toes. So, in this para, the narrator explaining about the small foot which Nick has. So with this small foot, what he is doing is he can balance himself and he can kick, and he uses it to type, write with a pen, and pick things up between his toes. I call it my chicken drumstick, joked Nick. So here, this is small foot. He is calling it as chicken drumstick. Joked Nick, who was born in Melbourne. So Nick was born in Melbourne, that is in Australia, but now lives in Los Angeles. So now where he is living? Now he is living in Los Angeles. I had been lost without it. So it means small foot. So without that small foot, there is no use. So there is a great importance with that small foot. So in these two paras, he explaining about his small foot. There is that is the so important thing to him. Water sports are Nick's only thing. So he likes water sports. He also plays golf with a club tucked under his chin. So already we are discussing about this Nick. He has no arms and legs, but he can play golf. So what he is doing is with a club tucked under his chin and is a huge fan of the English Premier League EPL. So he is also very fan, huge fan. So he likes very much. His parents decided not to send him to a special school. Special school means for orphans, like that. There are a few special schools are there for deaf and dumb, like these persons. There are the special schools. So actually, he is a torso. So there are also special schools for him, but the parents decided not to send him to a special school. A decision he said was very hard for him. So it is also very hard, but which may have been the best decision they could have made for him. So their decision, there means the parents' decision is very, very, very best decision they could have made for him. For him. So they won't send to the special school. So in these two paras, what he is saying, he has Nick plays golf and he is a very great fan of English Premier League, and his parents they decided not to send him to a special school. So that is very great decision, the best decision they could have made for him. When Nick was born, his father was so shocked that he left the hospital room to vomit. His distraught mother couldn't bring herself to hold him until he was 4 months old. So, in this para, he is explaining about the parents' situation. So, here the parents they were shocked. This shocked father, he went to he left the hospital room to vomit. See what a terrible thing. And his distraught mother, she couldn't bring herself to her to hold him until he was 4 months old. So it is very, very terrible thing. There in this para, what the narrator explains, the parents were very upset. My dear children, coming these three paras, the narrator explaining about the parents' situation, about the parents' position, and parents' duties. So they did everything correct. But unluckily, Nick was born as a torso. See, his disability came without any medical explanations. So, why this disability came? No one knows. A rare occurrence called phocomelia. This is the name of the disease. And Nick and his parents spent many years asking why this cruel trick would happen to them. My mother was a nurse. So, what was his mother? His mother was a nurse. She did everything right during pregnancy. So, when she was pregnancy, she take all medicines. It means uh, everything right during pregnancy. But she still blamed herself, she said. So she was blaming herself. Why this cruel trick happened? Why Nick born like this? So always she was suffering. It was so hard for them. So it is very hard already we are discussing. So a child without limbs. So how hard it is. So it was so hard for them, but right from the start, they did their best to make me independent. So they Nick grown up freely, independently. They gave most freedom to this boy. My dad put me in the water at 18 months. It means 1.5 year. At the age of 1.5 year, his father put him in a water. Why? And gave the courage to learn how to swim. How to swim. Though Nick was a torso, his father put him in water at the age of 18 months and gave him courage. So that's why at the age of 1.5 year, Nick learned to swim. He loved swimming. I also got really into football and skateboarding. I totally love English Premier League. Already we are discussed about this one. He is a great fan of English Premier League. Nick's father was a computer programmer. So what was Nick's father? Nick's father was a computer programmer and accountant. And he taught his little son how to type. So Nick learned how to type from his father, how to type with his toes at just 6 years old. At the age of 6 years, he was typing. He was typing. His mom invented a special plastic device. So, what is the use of this plastic device? That meant he could hold a pen and pencil. So, with this plastic device, he can hold a pen and pencil and he can write anything. So, he learned at the age of 6 years. Despite the risk of being bullied, his parents insisted on his attending mainstream school. It was the best decision they could have made for me, adds Nick. So that is the best decision. The Nick thought, who later achieved a degree in financial planning and real estate. So in which subject he got a degree? In financial planning and real estate. It was very hard, but it gave me independence. So when he got the degree, he got the independence because he's not illiterate person. He's a very intelligent person. Nick, who was teased and bullied, has an electric wheelchair for mobility. So he has a wheelchair, Nana. He has a wheelchair. So what is the use of this wheelchair? It is for mobility and team of carers to help him. So many carers also they are taking care. I was deeply depressed when I was 8 years old. So when Nick was 8 years old, he was deeply depressed. He said, I went to my mom crying and told her I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to kill myself. So he wanted to die. So he went to his mother and asked. So that is a terrible situation. I felt cold and bitter. So he was so frightened. He was so frightened. I hated God for doing this to me. So he was hating God and was terrified of what would happen when my parents were not there to look after me. So he thought at that age, if there would not be the parents, so what happened? So what happened? It is very, very terrible. What would happen when my parents were not there to look after me? So now their parents were taking more care. I could brush my own teeth with a wall mounted brush. Wall mounted brush means it is arranged in a wall. Simply he goes and he brush himself and wash my own hair with pump action soap. So he was taking bath also. But there was so much that was impossible for me because he was a torso. He has no arms and legs. So there was so much, there was so much that was impossible for me. So many impossible things were there to Nick. At age 10, Nick tried to drown himself in a bath, but luckily the attempt was unsuccessful. So he wanted to die himself in water. But unluckily, what happened? The attempt was unsuccessful. I felt there was no purpose. When you lack purpose and strength, so then he knew about the life. It is hard to hold on, he said. Actually, it is very, very hard situation. But with the help of his religion, friends, and family, Nick managed to pull through to become an international symbol of Trump over adversity. So, with the help of his religion, friends, and family, with this help, he became an international figure, an international symbol of Trump over adversity. So there are the adversity conditions are there. But in that situations also, he became a symbol of Trump. When I was 13, I read a newspaper article about a disabled man who had managed to achieve great things and helped others, said Nick. So he read a newspaper article. In that newspaper article, he knew about a disabled man. So what was he doing? Yes, he was a great person. He managed to achieve great things and helped others. So at the age of 13, Nick decided to do great things and helped others. I realized why God had made us like this to give hope to others. It was so inspirational to me that I decided to use my life to encourage other people and give them the courage that the article had given me. So he read the article, newspaper article, and he got the confidence. So with this confidence, what he decided? He decided to encourage other people and give them the courage. I decided to be thankful for what I have, not get angry about what I don't. Here the Nick has no arms and legs, so he was not getting angry about these things. But he is so thankful. Why? For what? To be thankful for what I do have. So what Nick have? So he is so thankful. He is saying thanks to the God. First of all, then he hated God. But now he is saying thanks to God. I looked at myself in the mirror and said. So he was looking into the mirror and said, you know what the world is right, that I have no arms and legs, but they will never take away the beauty of my eyes. So he's explaining about himself. He got more confidence. So he was not bothering about his arms and legs. He is saying, when he was looking into the mirror and said, what he said? Yes, but they will never take away the beauty of my eyes. I wanted to concentrate on something good at I had. So he wanted to do something good to the society. He decided, I wanted to concentrate on something good that I had. So here he had his eyes, as he can speak very well, as he is very intelligent. So with these things, he wanted to concentrate on something good that he had. The challenges in our lives are there to strengthen our convictions. They are not there to run us over, said Nick. So, when we get the problems or the challenges in our life, what happens? We will become strengthened. In 1990, Nick won the Australian Young Citizen of the Year award for his bravery and perseverance. So, this is a very, very difficult situations. In these difficult situations, he was living very bravely. That's why in 1990, Nick won the Australian Young Citizen of the Year award for his bravery and perseverance. And once I was in a car, so in this para he is explaining about a funny thing. And once I was in a car and a girl at traffic lights was looking at me interestingly. So when he was sitting in a car, what will we see? We will see only his face. So that's why interestingly she was looking at him interestingly. She could only see my head. So I decided to do a 360 degrees spin in the car. So he want to turn immediately. 360 degrees spin in the car. Sit to freak her out. Her face was like, oh, what is going on? She sped off really quickly. So she was afraid. With this trick, she was afraid very much and she ran away. Nick began traveling the world and in 2008 he went to Hawaii and met surfing master Bethany Hamilton, who had her arm bitten off by a shark when she was 12. So, in this para, what we can understand? Nick met Bethany Hamilton. So, who is Bethany Hamilton? He was a surfing master. She was a surfing master. She was amazing, said Nick. She taught me how to surf, and I was terrified at first. But once I got up there, it felt absolutely fantastic, and I caught some waves pretty well. So first of all, he was afraid of surfing, but when he got there, he felt that absolutely fantastic. So that's why he learned it very well. Nick quickly learned, so he loved it. So that's why he learned very quickly. Learned how to do the 360-degree spins on his board, a feat that got him on the cover of a Surfer magazine within 48 hours. So when he was learning that, automatically a magazine, Surfer magazine, so the cover page came. No one has ever done that in the history of surfing, he said. So it is also great record. But I have a very low center of gravity. So I have got a pretty good balance. So how he can learn this surfing very well? Why? Because there is a low center of gravity. So that is the benefit to him. He was visited different countries all over the world. So from there, then onwards, he was traveling from country to country. How many countries he traveled? The football fan is now a motivational speaker. So once upon a time, he was a lover of football match, but now he is a motivational speaker and has traveled to over 24 countries. So he traveled 24 countries, speaking to groups of up to 1,10,000 people. So it means, yes, he was meeting groups and speaking with them. He moved to Los Angeles in 2007. So in 2007, he moved to Los Angeles and planned to continue to travel the world. In 2009, he visited South America and the Middle East. In 2008, a miracle happened. What is that? Kane Miyahara, a beautiful young girl whose mother was a Mexican and whose father was a Japanese, attended to a meeting where Nick was the guest speaker in Texas. So there Kane Miyahara met Nick. So where is the guest here? Nick was the guest speaker in Texas. Kane was attracted to Nick's message. So she was very attracted. So Kane Miyahara met Nick in Texas. From the time they were in touch with each other to share their ideas and giving hope to the needy, and they became close friends. Here they became close friends. Finally, they fell in love. So they loved each other, and their engagement happened in August 2011. So in 2011, the engagement happened. Nick put the engagement ring on Kane's finger with his mouth. So he held the ring in his mouth and then said the most beautiful words every girl wants to hear coming out from her man's mouth. So, what is that word? Baby, I love you. So, they fell in love. Nick and Kanye got married on February 12, 2012, and on February 13, 2013, they were blessed with the birth of a healthy baby boy with full body. So why we're discussing about the full body? Kane has no full body, but his son has the full body. Nick and Kane wrote an inspirational book, Love Without Limits, together, and it was published in 2014. So in 2014, they published a book. The name of the book is Love Without Limits. If I fail, I try again and again and again. If you fail, are you going to try again? The human spirit can handle much worse than we realize. It matters how you are going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? Said Nick. So, when we get the problems, we will afraid. But Nick is an inspirational man. What he's saying is finish it very strong. I tell people to keep on getting up when they fall and to always love themselves, he said. So we have to love ourselves. Then only we can achieve so many goals. If I can encourage just one person, then my job in this life is done. So he inspired so many people. But he is saying, if I inspire only one person, my life is very satisfied. And my job is, and this life is done.